Join my family and I as we sail from Mallorca down to Gibraltar, onto the Canary Islands, and then down to the Cape Verde Islands off of Africa. Then we cross the Atlantic to Barbados, ready to start the exploration of the Caribbean Sea. Right now we're halfway across the Atlantic, so in this episode we sail to Boa Vista, then on to San Nicolau for some fantastic hiking and spearfishing, and then we leave from Mindelo to sail across the Atlantic. Enjoy!
Mckenzies on the move!
So today is the day we leave Sal and set sail for Boa Vista. We're really going to miss this place, such a special spot. Cleared out of Sal, done a bit of fresh produce shopping, and now we're going to set the sails and head to Boa Vista. Amy, it's not bula cake time, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Here you go.
Mckenzies are on the move. Land ahoy! Nothing wrong with a few dance-offs along the way. Phenomenal waves coming into Boa Vista here on our approach. You really don't notice the Atlantic swell so much when you're sailing on it, but when you see the rollers come into the coast you realise how big the swell really is. Beautiful to watch. Okay, time to douse the sails and get ready for our approach.
Excuse me.
Okay, anchors down and secure, so time to visit Boa Vista. I must admit, from the sky, Boa Vista looks quite attractive. But once ashore and visiting the town, it's a slightly different story. So according to the locals, 7 years ago, none of this town really existed. It was just mainly this fishing port. But in the last 7 years, the building has just gone up and up and up. There is building site after building site with a mixture of housing estate thrown in. They say there's 3,000 people living in San Rey, but 8,000 people living in shanty towns on the outside. But the beach is fantastic. The kite surfing is epic and the locals are ever so nice. So we made our way up to the sand dunes to play for a while, to check out the view as well, which was phenomenal, and then go and visit a kite club for some kiting and some for refreshments. This was a fantastic kite club, such a nice vibe and such nice decor. Really, really nice venue. Really love the paintings on the walls. So cool. Okay, last fish meal in Boa Vista before we take off early in the morning for San Nicolau. Fish again. We're still eating the dorada. All right, enjoy, guys. No misbehaving. Okay, it's 5 a.m. and we are just preparing to leave Boa Vista. We got a 90-mile trip. We're going to have 15 to 20 knots exactly on the beam with 2-meter seas with 9-second intervals. So it should be a really nice, dash across. How exciting! You good? It's really interesting. When we were coming in to the Cape Verde Islands, there's so many flying fish here, and some of them are really large, like maybe a fully grown one is maybe 12 inches and probably weighs half a kilo. But when we were coming in the dark, there were so many of them, they were underneath the boat and they were just taking off and flying into the hull underneath the side of the boat. So we didn't know what it was, so we kept stopping the boat. Did we run over something? What is it? And then we realized it's the flying fish. And what's happening now is this seagull is just hanging. We're 50 miles offshore, but the seagull is just hanging here following us, and he hangs on the side of the boat, and as the flying fish scoot out the way of the boat coming down over the top of them, the seagull swoops in and tries to catch the flying fish. But really fun to watch. In case you're wondering, these goggles are actually kite surfing goggles, but they're brilliant when it's blowing 20-25 knots and the sun's shining in your face and you've got sensitive eyes. It's like having a front room for each of your eyes. Fantastic. But yeah, such a speedy day today. The wind is right on the beam, a little bit behind the beam, blowing 20 knots, and Yeah, we're averaging sort of 9.5 knots, sometimes 11, 12 knots. We just had a fried breakfast. Amy was wearing an egg on her face and Jake was wearing his beans down his lap, but apart from that, fantastic. The beautiful approach of San Nicolau, Cape Verdes. We've all been excited to come and visit San Nicolau, mainly for the hiking and also for the free diving.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's black sand everywhere.
Another interesting Cape Verde island. Normally they speak Creole, but in this one they're speaking French. But again, a lot of buildings not being finished. But we're off to the police station to check in.
Oh, it's nicer than Boa Vista.
So we've arrived safely in San Nicolau. We spent the night and now we are up early. We are just catching up on some admin. Gonna grab some breakfast and then we're gonna go do some proper exploring. Probably gonna be here for 2 days. It's gonna be some very, very strong winds tomorrow and we have got to sail, when we leave here to sail to Mindelo, we've got to sail into the wind. So sailing into the Atlantic swell is not fun, especially in strong winds. So we're gonna wait till the day after tomorrow before leaving. So we've got 2 days. So we are gonna go for a nice hike today. We are going to go hiking. Beautiful day for it. Check out the day. We're going to go hiking up through that ravine there and get as high as we can. But yeah, it looks amazing scenery. Reminds me a little bit of Tenerife. But yeah, excited to go for a hike.
Must be a lot of fish in there.
Meet the locals in San Nicolau.
San Nicolau, huh?
San Nicolau, huh? Good people. Good people. Quick run to the top of the hill before the day's hike begins. Has anybody else out there got an addiction to getting the blood pumping? Same story here as Boa Vista. If you look at all of the buildings, there's at least 70% that are grey and unfinished, just started projects. I'm not sure if they're optimistic or the tourist trade really is going to improve here. I think maybe just optimistic. This is Nielsen. Nielsen is the guy in San Nicolau who does all of the fuel, the water, hikes, and his safaris. He organises everything. So just give him a call.
Welcome, San Nicolau.
Okay, it's time to go hiking. It's a long way to hike.
Hard luck.
It's kind of cool. So we're up here in the top of the mountain, 40 minutes walk from anywhere. You see they're growing what looks to be like corn down in the little valleys. So beautiful.
hiking today, and when we arrived in San Nicolau, it was very barren from the sea as we arrived, and we arrived onto a black sandy beach, and the village itself was really quaint, much cleaner than Boa Vista, which was nice, and there were little shops. So this morning we've been up to get some fresh bread and some cucumber, and we're hiking up the mountain, and we are now in lush green sort of forest, which is a real contrast to what we experienced when we arrived on the island. It's just nice and fresh. We're actually up amongst the clouds.
This is probably the best hike I've ever done. So green.
It's very steep. Wow, it's really something else. Just the sound of the wind up here, the clouds racing overhead, and there's crows everywhere crowing. Reminds me of Wurzel Cuppage. But it's just stunning. Absolutely beautiful hike. Isn't it nice, Jake?
Yeah.
Best hike ever?
Yeah.
So, quick update. We have been in San Nicolau a couple of days, went on the most amazing hike, and the plan was to go to Mindelo in the island of St. Vincent, which is the capital, because we have to go there to check out with our passports. The idea was to stay there a couple of days, but we're hearing so many reports of boats being boarded and thievery and robbing. So it's not a matter of fact, will you get robbed? It's when you get robbed. Everybody gets robbed. It's quite a problem there. So what we've decided to do is we restocked the boat with as much fresh produce as we could, refueled with jerry cans. It took a whole day and a half to refuel and to shop, because it's difficult to find fresh produce here, really difficult.
Really difficult, yeah.
But we managed to do it. And now we have decided that we were just going to, before we go to Mindelo, because when we get to Mindelo, we are literally going to remove everything from the deck, rush into the police station, take us about maybe an hour, and then come back to the boat and leave immediately, rather than risk the locals robbing the boat. So we have come down the coast just a few miles to this beautiful anchorage that we saw when we passed coming into San Nicolau. So it's a fantastic anchorage where we are going to snorkel. I'm going to do some free diving, see if I can spear some fish, some parrotfish or some triggerfish, and just explore the caves and have some fun.
Me too, I'm going to spearfish too.
Yeah, Jake's going to try some spear fishing with a small spear gun that I've bought him. And then tomorrow morning we're going to leave at the crack of dawn to go to Mindelo to clear out, and then leave for the Caribbean tomorrow afternoon.
Wait, tomorrow afternoon?
Tomorrow afternoon we leave. So I'm excited. It's 7 a.m. I'm the first up, so it's time to take my spearfishing equipment, jump in the dinghy, and head off to the reef to see what we can find. What a morning! After flying the drone yesterday, I saw this reef from above and thought this would be the perfect place to start. I just love the sport of spearfishing. I love to free dive, I love to be underwater and then add the challenge of holding your breath for 2 or 3 minutes and sometimes going to some decent depths, shooting a fish and then having it for lunch. It's got it all. It's just the best sport for me. Okay, first things first, safety, and then after that, it's time to load the gun. I have 4 or 5 spear guns for different occasions, and also a pole spear for when it's illegal to use a gun. A quick message to Finboy, my nephew in New Zealand. Next episode, I promise to show you all of my guns and my pole spear and show you which one I choose for which occasion. Okay, all these guys, these sturgeon fish are a little bit too small for me. Normally I spearfish in the depth range of between sort of 12 and 20, maybe 25 meters to get the big fish. But in this area it's all quite shallow, but there's still some reasonable fish. So this sturgeon fish is probably a good dinner for one. But they do taste very good, very nice white fish. Okay, that's Kirsten's dinner taken care of. Such a relaxing sport and beautiful. Okay, I think that's enough for a couple of dinners. So now some family time and to bring the kids and Kirsten back to see the reef and to give Jake his first lesson in spearfishing. done, Jake. First spear gun fish, and he did well. About 4 meters deep, did fantastic. Okay, let's go cook him up. So proud of Jake. He listened to instruction well, was very safety conscious, and he dove to 4 meters and shot his fish. He did so well. I'm so proud of him.
How was it?
Awesome, beautiful spot. Beautiful spot. Very shallow, but beautiful. Okay, it's 6 o'clock on the 7th of, what's the date today? Is it the 7th? 6th of December. We are leaving San Nicolau and heading to Mindelo to clear out of the Cape Verdes, and this afternoon we shall set sail to cross the Atlantic. So we're all really excited, but it's been a fantastic stay at San Nicolau. We've really enjoyed it, but not as much as I'm looking forward to a cup of tea and a coffee in a minute. All right, let's go to Mindelo. Cape Verde special, cup of tea and bula cake. Oh, just sat in a wet puddle. So we are in Mindelo. It's the 7th of December. We got here last night, and a nice friend, Barbara, that we met from, what's the name of the boat? Pink Penguins. Took us in a dinghy, showed us customs, showed us police, took us to the pharmacy and the supermarket, and then brought us back in a dinghy. Ever so kind. Thank you, Barbara. And so Kirsten has just rushed ashore to grab a couple more eggs, and we are in the anchorage of Mindelo, checked out, ready to leave. So we shall leave in the next half an hour, and we're heading to Barbados, about 2,200 miles. We hope to be there in about 12 days. So follow us along the route. We hope to have a nice, safe and fast crossing with good weather and good winds, and some fishing. Okay. Well, first impressions of Mindelo are good. It seems like a really cool town. Reminds me a little bit of Cuba. Nice to see more and more Ultramares. Here's a couple of 45s like mine. They must be like the Volvo of the sea, I think. Wow, it's very exciting. So we've just left, and there's 5 or 6 boats all sort of left within the same half an hour. There's a nice Ultramare called Kookaburra which left 10 minutes before us, so we quickly hauled anchor, quickly motored out, pulled up our sails, and we're now ahead of him. And we've just thrown up the trade wind sail, and we are doing 8, 9, 10 knots, which is good. And we're leaving him behind. Not that this is a race, obviously, but he's behind us. So, yep, let's go. Excited.
Talk about $5.
$5?
Oh, we owe you.
So upon setting off, we had a good 25, 26, 27 knots behind us. This is about the maximum for this blue trade wind sail, because we tend to go just too fast. And for all of those inquisitive sailors out there that wonder how it feels to surf on a performance catamaran to 17, 18 knots, this is how it feels. You feel the back of the yacht lift up here, and she starts to point down the wave, and she's off. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and a half knots. It is thrilling. It's a little bit frightening at first, but it's very, very stable, and the boat is totally in control. Oh, we are off to a good start on this crossing. Proper little rappers. Every morning there's always a few flying fish on deck. Christmas decorations are being made today in art class.
Where's mine?
So, time for a quick update. We are starting day 5 this morning. We have covered about 700 miles and we've got about 1400 to go. So we should make it in the 12 days. If we keep going like this, we should make it in the 12 days that we are hoping for. So it's been very good. We're into the routine. The weather's been good. We've had some, it's normally sort of 15 to 22 knots, sometimes a little stronger last night up to 27. Sometimes it drops to 12. We tend to use the trade wind sail behind us for most of the daytime, going dead downwind. Then we put up the white sails and we go slightly across the wind a little bit back onto course during the night. But that seems to be the pattern. Average speed at the moment for the whole trip so far is about 7.6, which is good, can't complain. Our maximum speed last night was 18.6. The waves are about, today they're 3 meters. It's hard to show it on camera, but this is 3 meter waves, the occasional 4. But to be honest, when you're going in this direction, it's not so much of a problem. It's just a little noisy at night when they come rumbling underneath you. Can wake you up with a fright. But Amy's down there having a breakfast. But yeah, it's going well so far. They're interesting. Nice hair, Amy, thank you. The go-to meal seems to be for lunch, first we make the coleslaw, which lasts forever, which is good on a crossing. Then we've got the mahi-mahi, which is...
it's got a Cajun spice rub on it, which is really nice.
Then we have got red onion that we put in a jar and add...
cider vinegar, some agave, and that's it.
And that also lasts for a few weeks. And a little bit of...
cilantro.
Cilantro. And how is it, Amy?
Amazing.
It's amazing. A go-to lunch. So it's an interesting topic, because I know there's a few there's a few Outremer owners which are waiting for their boats, which are watching this. Peter for one. It's interesting because you're always trying to go as fast as you can-ish, or go fast, but downwind, it's a fine line between having enough sail up to keep moving and then having slightly too much wind, and all of a sudden you start taking off and you're surfing to 16, 17 knots every 3 or 4 minutes, which, although it sounds fun, it's not, especially at night time. Really puts your nerves on edge. So it's almost like with a performance catamaran, because they're so slippery, you need to use warps. I'm finding they're working really well. So all I've done is I've rigged 2 times 60 meter lengths of line with a 3 meter or 5 meter chain at the end, 5 preferably, and then you put it out the back. And let's get some light here. You put it out the back and it makes a whole heap of difference. It doesn't seem to have slowed us down much, it's hard to tell, but since I put it out, or I put 2 out at first, and we didn't surf above 13 knots, and I've managed to pull 1 in. The other one I can't pull in because it's just too hard to pull in. I'd have to slow the boat right down. But we haven't surfed in an hour now above 13 knots, which 13 knots is doable. I'm quite happy surfing at that, but just not 16, 17. And although you don't notice it, the waves at the moment are about 3 with the occasional 4. It's hard to tell, but they're pretty big. You can see the line going in, and as we slow down it drops with the weight of the chain, and as we speed up and start to surf it pulls tight, and it really slows the boat and stops that surf. So I don't see how anybody could not use this method with such a slippery catamaran, especially if they're going decent speeds with a sail like this, because it doesn't take much to get it moving. But interesting topic. It's cool to play with these warps to see how effective they are, but yeah, hugely effective and simple. You can just furl the head sail away and then slow the boat right down, just pull them in hand over hand. It's totally doable. Hope that helps someone out there. Yeah, seems to not only stop the surfing or the crazy surfing, but also seems to average out your speed. Your speed seems to sit around a certain number rather than being up, down, up, down, up, down. So it's really beneficial, really beneficial with this type of catamaran. Peter, there's a good tip for you. 2 pieces of rope, 50 meter long, and 2 10 meters or 5 to 10 meters piece of chain, maybe 8mm thick. Brilliant. Really improves the downwind sailing. And last, a final word on this, again for Peter. Remember, weight is essential with these performance cats. We're always trying to shave weight, so don't go out and buy 2 lots of 10 meter chain. Use the 10 meter chain you got for locking up your dinghy, and use your 10 meter chain you got for your stern anchor. So you can use them for 2 different things, therefore you don't have to carry an extra 20 meter piece of chain. Hey? Oh, things are getting a little technical, so I think it's time to wrap up this episode. So join us next time where we arrive and explore Barbados, followed by Tobago, and then after that we're going to be exploring Grenada, followed by St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So have a good Christmas, have a good New Year, all the best for 2025. See you in the next episode. Bye for now.